Welcome back to the upper tier. This is your Premier League preview, match week 22, coming at you from the upper tier on YouTube. Audio version show available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Joining me as always for the Premier League previews. Some people call him the Dazzler. Some people call him Mystic Mac. But on this show, to me, he's just my buddy Darren. How are we?
I'm all good, pal.
Jeez, I could have done my Bobby Firmino doing that tonight, but how never.
Was he firing blanks out, Bobby?
Disaster again. Don't even want to talk about it. It was that bad. So bad.
I just came in late from work and I just seen Minamino's miss. Oh, no. That was a bit of a miss. The only thing I'd like to just remind our listeners of, and our viewers and our subscribers and you know, all the people that send us all those lovely messages in. I told you a long time ago, Granit Xhaka is not a footballer. I don't know what he is, but he's not a footballer. Why Mikel Arteta persists with putting this absolute fucking disco biscuit space cake in the team is beyond me.
Well, if you're saying tonight's tackle, Dana White should be signing him for the UFC. Full set of studs,
what is
straight into Jota's midsection.
I saw the replay and I didn't when I came in to watch the end of it, I was kind of looking around. I was thinking, who's not on the pitch? And at one point I thought, geez, are they missing Cedric? You know, there's Cedric missing there, bloody blah. And then of course I heard it was Granit Xhaka, and it wasn't a surprise to me then. And I went, oh no. I saw the tackle and you're just thinking, what's wrong with this guy?
Is there ever a guy who has it written across his forehead? Please sell me.
Where is Mikel Arteta going to draw the line with this guy and just go, I'm sorry, pal, but no more. We can't do it to our players or to our fans. Like, you can't play any more football. You're abysmal.
It's fair. He'd probably knock the bollocks out of Arteta in the tunnel.
Sell him when he's sitting at home on his couch so you don't have to see this one. And make sure when he comes in to collect his boots, you're on bleeding holiday in Turkey or something. Getting a new pair of Nashers.
Imagine the Roma fans at home at the moment going, thank God.
Oh, God. It upsets me to even think about it.
Anyway, the less talking about that game, the better, to be honest. Let's get into this Premier League preview. We kick off Friday night, 8 p.m. Brighton versus Crystal Palace. Potter versus Vieira.
Yeah, and it's a derby. It's a big derby over there. I didn't realise that until earlier this season. There's a bit of rivalry there between the Palace and the Brighton fans. So I think it's going to be a good game, to be honest with you. I know obviously Palace are waiting home and they're missing a couple of their big boys, aren't they, with Wilfred Zaha and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'd imagine there's going to be a couple of goals in this. I know Brighton, you know, they're playing some unbelievable football, but they do find scoring the difficult part of the game, let's say. I do think they'll have enough, though, I have to be honest. I think this kind of Friday night under the lights suits them a little bit. I think obviously Palace had a good result last weekend in the FA Cup and stuff like that, but I think I've got to say this is going to be a Brighton win, you know. I back our lad Graham, I have to say. Brighton have been playing very, very well. I think they're 4 or 5 unbeaten at the minute, aren't they? And they keep picking up results, and you know, they're not they're in games for a lot of it, and they don't maybe get the goal they deserve, but they keep hanging on, and that every last couple of minutes you just know it's like a tidal wave that's building and it's building and it's building. It brings me back to the old days when Fergie was at United, and you knew the goal was coming. You didn't know how, you didn't know when, you didn't know why, but you knew the goal was coming. And Brighton are starting to feel like that. Like, I'm looking at them away against Chelsea a few weeks ago, and I'm just going, they're going to score here. They're going to score here. They're going to score here. And the next minute, boom, they've scored. You know, It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, Maupay has been sensational for them, hasn't he, with these late winners and late equalisers and stuff.
Yeah, he really, really has. Like, and I know, you know, initially there was a few issues with him, and not issues, but, you know, maybe the conversion rate wasn't what they'd want. But like, I think he's a good player. I think he's solid, I have to say. I know I heard Glenn Murray talking on Sky Sports a few weeks ago about it, and they said, you know, who would you sign? And he said, to be honest with you, he said, like, Maupay is a serious baller. You know, he said, I'd absolutely run with Maupay and go from there, you know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go 2-1 to the Seagulls, isn't it? 2-1 to the Seagulls.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking I like when Brighton come up against a team with a little bit of physicality, and they normally step up there. They've got guys in there, the likes of Trossard and all, who like that bit of bite and all, So I'm gonna go 2-1 Brighton as well. I'm gonna stick with
Brighton also missing one of their big boys, aren't they? In East Basuma, so it kind of balances out a little bit. Palace are without Zaha, and Brighton are without Basuma, but I think Brighton still have enough to get over the line. I think their squad's probably just a little bit deeper than the Palace one.
Yep, one of the biggest games of the weekend, lunchtime Saturday, Manchester City versus Chelsea.
Yeah, this was a game earlier on the season, because we're in the return fixtures now, aren't we? This is a game earlier on in the season. I think City won this 1-0, didn't they? And it's kind of what got the ball rolling for City. Because I know going into the game, we'd obviously spoken about it in previews and stuff, and I don't think any of us fancied City. And all of a sudden, they went to Chelsea, and it was a 1-0 win, if I'm right.
It was, and they created chances as well.
They created chances, but they were solid. They were really solid. It was the first we kind of saw that solid City this season.
And it was the first we seen a bit of weakness from Tuchel in terms of tactics.
Well, yeah, and I suppose the first we seen from Chelsea, where we started to maybe realise at times they can be a bit blunt up front, Yeah. Lots of possession, lots of huffing and puffing, but at times they just don't blow the roof off it, do they?
No.
I didn't fancy City in the last game, but I can't see anything other than a City win this time round. I just think the form City are in, and I just think when they come into these really, really clutch games, I think they always just do enough to get them over the line, like the kind of Arsenal game a couple of weeks ago, where they didn't maybe play their best. They're away from home, they've taken a bit of a batter, and all of a sudden they get out with 2-1, you're going, Jesus, what happened there? And I think that's what good title-winning teams do.
Yeah, and I think also Chelsea at the moment, even though they're getting some results and stuff like that, that they're making very hard work of it, aren't they? And I suppose looking at this, what you're talking about here is anything less than a Chelsea win, and then it's title race, game over for them, isn't it?
Well, it is for Chelsea, absolutely, yeah. Now, obviously, Liverpool will still be in the shake-up, but if City turn Chelsea over, I don't see Chelsea being able to catch City, because this is basically like a 6-point swing. Yeah. It's your 3 lost and their 3 gained. So yeah, this is a big, big game for Chelsea, but I can't see past a City victory. And I am going to say 2-1 City. They'll just sneak it like they did against Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking 2-1 City. Unfortunately, but that's what I'm thinking. Let's get into the 3 o'clock. Wolves versus Southampton.
Yeah, this could be a good game, actually.
Governor coming off a very good win.
Southampton have been in great form recently, haven't they? And doing what they don't do, enough of, scoring goals. You've got the boy Broja, obviously, you've started to kind of get the ball rolling.
Outstanding the other night.
Yeah. He took the goal very, very well. Nice little dink over the keeper and stuff like that. He's a big sort of a rangy guy, but when he got clear for that goal, there was nobody getting near him. Yeah. Was able to maintain a little bit of distance between himself and the defenders. And obviously he bided his time until the keeper made a little bit of a commitment, and he placed it really nicely. It was super finish. Showed an awful lot of maturity, I must say.
Keeper was unlucky as well, though. The keeper did get a touch, but still he deserved the goal because of the movement and everything. Yeah,
I think so. But I mean, Wolves are unbeaten in 5, aren't they? Picking up wins and draws everywhere. They've been very, very solid. They're tight at the back. We've obviously spoken about the boy Jose Sa quite a bit, about maybe possibly being the signing in the season. He's been superb. I watched there was a highlight reel of him on the TV the other day of what he's done this season at Wolves. And they spoke about not only is it his shot stopping and stuff like that, but he's added a new dimension to Wolves through his distribution.
Yeah.
He's very quick with the ball in his hands. He likes to play that kind of a low, he gets the ball in his hands, he keeps it really, really low, and he kind of shoots it into the channels and gets guys going onto it. And you're seeing boys, they know where he's going to put it straight away. So they start making the move, and they're making. I think if we go back earlier on the season, they won 1-0 away from home at Southampton when the boy Jimenez got the goal and he got the assist.
Yeah.
And they've done it quite a few times. They haven't maybe got the goals out of it, but it set them up into play and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be a great game. But I think just because Wolves are at home, I think it probably just err on the side of Wolves. I know they're missing a couple of boys. They've obviously got the boy Roman Saiz is off at the AFCON, and he's a big player for them. He really, really is. Probably a little bit undervalued for my money, because he's solid, and he also pops up with a couple of headers, and he hit the crossbar at Old Trafford with a free kick as well. A centre back, there's not too many centre backs taking free kicks. Yeah. I can tell you. So he's a little bit underrated, and undervalued. But I think Wolves will have enough here, and I think they'll nick it 1-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a score draw, because I know both teams recently have been in a bit of form, but I don't really. I kind of really, once the FA Cup round is done, I kind of discard that form and I look a little bit deeper. And I just think at the moment, I think the problem for Wolves is Jimenez. He's way off where he should be. And I know he's coming back from the head injury and all this kind of stuff now, but he's miles off where he was before. And I know some of that might be that, like, I know Jota has moved on and players have moved on and stuff like that now, but still he's I don't know what it is about him at the moment. He doesn't seem happy there. He doesn't seem right at the moment.
I definitely think there's a lack of confidence there. I think he's still questioning himself, and he's still questioning, obviously he's probably had to change his game a little bit. He's coming an awful lot deeper than he ever did to try and get involved in the play. Yeah. When initially he was kind of playing right up along the centre half and he was trying to win headers and stuff. It doesn't kind of look that way anymore. So he's probably changed things up a little bit. But I think, to be honest, they've been lucky with the form of, like, obviously Neves and Moutinho, and then Podence and Trincao. Trincao hasn't added goals to it yet, but when Trincao starts adding goals, you're looking at an unbelievable footballer. His play, similar to, obviously, not in that kind of a powerful style of Adama, but up to a certain point, his play is very, very good. Yeah. The final ball and the goals columns need to get looked at a little bit. But I mean, from a footballing point of view, he's playing some really good football. The end product needs a bit of work, but other than that, I think he's going to be a very good player.
Yeah, I just think for Wolves at the moment, I kind of chalk it down to, like, I think a lot of players have come on there and have become better players, and I think it's like Jimenez has kind of retracted a little bit, and he's not the star there now, because we talk about Podence, we talk about Trincao, we talk about these players at the back and stuff like that. And now he seems to be a player that's in a mix with a lot of other players, as opposed to being those players and then Raul Jimenez. I think he has faded back into the mix, and these guys are looking really well now. And because he's your focal point really there for goals, I think because he has rescinded a little bit, I think it's kind of like those boys are creating certain things, but he's not that player at the moment, I don't think.
And to be honest with you, like, I think they could probably, I know they brought the boy Chan in, and he's actually done quite well when he's played. Yeah. But I think you've obviously got that settling in period with the Premier League. He's had COVID, he's had a couple of injuries and stuff, so he hasn't maybe been able to get that snowball effect and get it rolling for himself, as he would have liked. But I think that's probably a position Wolves will look at, because they've obviously got the goalkeeper situation sorted. Many would say they're possibly even in a better position with getting rid of Patricio. That they're a bit miserly at the back. They keep things pretty tight. The midfield is good. Yeah, they're creating a lot. If Wolves could pick up a couple of strikers that could get 15 goals each a season, they'd be big in the game.
Yeah,
really big in the game.
We spoke about the boy at Blackburn, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's the kind of fit for them. I do like him. He's a big favourite of mine, Ben Burton Diaz. But I'm not quite sure he'd be I think they need something a little bit more than that. You know, I think he's a good player, but I think if Wolves want to go to like the next stage, I think they'd have to invest a little bit more than the 8 to 10 million that Ben Burton Diaz had cost him, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Newcastle versus Watford.
This is just a must-win game for Newcastle. It really, really is. Obviously, you know, with the loss of Callum Wilson, they knew they were going to be kind of strapped for goals a little bit, and they didn't maybe have a recognised striker other than possibly Dwight Gale, who hasn't really done it for them. So they've obviously brought in the boy Chris Wood. He'll be registered in time, and he'll start. He will 110% play. I heard quite a few people this week speak about him. You know, he's got 3 goals this season, and you know, he maybe hasn't lit the league on fire with the goals that he would have liked to. Because at Leeds in the Championship, he was at 15, 16 goals, you know, so he was doing well at that stage. I think from a footballing point of view, he's quite a good footballer. I think he obviously needs to improve on the finishing, but I think he'll get more opportunities at Newcastle. He'll get more chances. They'll create more. I don't think Burnley are conducive to, you know, to strikers. I think like you're saying with the boy Maxwell Cornet, he's scoring goals, but he's pretty much creating himself as well.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they create enough Burnley, and that's their issue. But I think at Newcastle Wolves, Chris Wood is going to get an awful lot of opportunities. And I think matching that up with the ball that's going to come in from that right-hand side with Kieran Trippier, we know how good he is from dead balls, from corners, free kicks, all of that. If he gets down that right-hand side and he can get a little bit of space and get the ball into the box, we could see Wood do very, very well at Newcastle. I wouldn't, and I know this is a big shout, I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Wood get 10 goals between now and the end of the season in the league. And that would be massive for Newcastle.
They need it.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do. And listen, 10 goals might not be next to near enough. But all I'm saying is, I feel like there's an opportunity for it to happen based on the kind of service he's going to get from St. Maximin and from Matt Ritchie and from Kieran Trippier and stuff like that. You know, I think he's a better header in the ball than Callum Wilson. I think Wilson is obviously a striker. He's a poacher and stuff like that. But I think Wood's going to put himself about. He's probably going to get involve the boys in the play a little more. I think Wilson's very kind of one-dimensional, gets the ball, looks to get a shot off.
Yeah, as opposed to a bit of hold-up play and bring other players into the game.
And I
Shelby running from deep or whatever, yeah.
Shelby, Miguel Almiron, the boy Joe Willock was on a massive goal-scoring run last season at Newcastle, and St. Maximin as well. So, yeah, I think this could be actually a good signing, if I'm honest. And the other thing they know is, and listen, if you're a Newcastle fan, you don't want to look at it as this way, but you know if you do end up in the Championship next season, he's good to go in the Championship. Some guys aren't good to go in the Championship. You know, I could possibly see Kieran Trippier getting loaned out for a season if they do go down.
I suppose that's the fear from the fan base, isn't it? That they're preparing for it.
No, I think it's clever.
It's a huge game as well, isn't it? Because the game against Cambridge was woeful.
It was, but they're very, very blunt, and they needed a striker. And I think, as I said to you, the focal point wouldn't have been on this. Listen, they shouldn't lose to Cambridge any day of the week. But I just don't think it was a big enough deal for them, you know. Whereas I think this week you'll see a much, much different side.
Yeah,
I think Newcastle will do this. I do. I think Newcastle will do this. I think Wood will get in the score sheet, and I think he'll get the fans behind him straight away, and that could kind of get him rolling, you know. I think I'll go 3-2 Newcastle.
3-2.
Yeah, because neither of these lads can defend very, very well.
Wood's getting the winner.
I think he'll get one anyway. I'm not going to nail the winner on him, but I think he'll get one. I'm going to say 3-2 Newcastle.
I'm going to go 2-0 Newcastle, and I'm going to go Woods with a brace, because I don't know where the goals are going to come from Watford. I think they're missing.
Seen
so
a
much
little
talent.
bit of Watford recently. They are now. They still have the boy Emmanuel Dennis. He's still there. He didn't go to the AFCON. He is injured though, and I'm not 100% sure whether he'll play or not. But I'm just going to throw someone's name into the mix here, who I've seen a couple of times in recent weeks. If you get a chance, have a look at this kid. He is going to be a baller. João Pedro. He plays in sort of in the middle of the park for Watford. The middle of the park / he's kind of joining in with maybe the attacking side of things. So maybe he'll be a 10 or a winger or something like that. This kid is unbelievable. I remember at the time when they signed him, there was big talk of, this coup that Watford had pulled off in getting this young lad and stuff like that. Have a look at this kid. He is tops. He is really, really good. You'll love this boy. The way he runs the ball at his feet, the pace, the trickery, the skill. He's excellent. He really, really is.
Sounds like you won't be at Watford too long by the sounds of things.
I don't imagine it. Yeah. I don't imagine it. I'll be shocked, He'd look a serious footballer in an Arsenal team who are only down the road from Watford and might decide, 25, 30 million here, we'll pinch this kid. He's a baller.
Norwich versus Everton.
Yeah, this is going to be horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, this is.
If there's a game of football not to watch this weekend, this is it.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm looking forward to it. I think picking a winner is even tougher, to be honest with you. Like
this is one to avoid.
Well, here's the thing, right? Every week I'm on anybody that's playing Norwich. Whereas this week I'm kind of like, Jesus, I don't know, can I? Like that bad Everton. I suppose the only hope for them is that they get the two boys back out on the pitch, isn't it? Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. And obviously, you've got Townsend, you've got that new left back Michaelenko will probably play. And the boy Patterson will be on the bench. They've got a couple of new bodies in the door and stuff like that. Obviously, with Digne heading off to Villa. Like, it's got to turn for Rafa, hasn't it? It really, really has to.
It's getting very close to decision time if it doesn't, And I think for Norwich, I think Norwich have kind of semi-accepted their fate, haven't they? Really, they're looking at them at the moment. They're very, very blunt.
They are, and even their talisman Timo Pukki looks like his confidence is in his boots, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just concede too many goals. They concede too many, and they don't score enough. So it's not a good.
It's not a recipe for the cake in the Premier League.
It's really not. 2-0 Everton. That's a big shout.
Yeah,
that's a big shout. 2-0 Everton. I have to tell you, like.
Yeah, I was thinking 2-1 Everton. I think he has a sprinkling back there and a bit of newness that might lift him a little bit. I think
there's a bit of energy there, isn't there?
Yeah.
The boy, I really like the boy Alan in the centre midfield. I find when he plays, they're a bit better than when he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And I know he played last week. Obviously, he's kind of probably fit and raring to go this week. So I think they'll just have enough Everton. I don't think it'll be amazing. I think it'll be a woeful game of football, but I think they'll just get over the line.
Burnley versus Leicester. No Chris Woods.
No Chris Wood. No, Chris is gone. Maxwell Cornet is at the AFCON. What does that leave you with? Jay Rodriguez and Mateo Vidra. You're struggling. And that was the basis, that was the basis on the call last week in the FA Cup of Huddersfield. They're missing an awful lot here. They really, really are. The tendency is for them to try and nick games 1-0 because they can't score anymore. But that puts an awful lot of pressure on your defence. That if they concede, they're like, well, we're in trouble now because we don't score any more than one.
And they can't even rely on Turf Moor anymore to get them through.
Nope. The last time Turf Moor got them out of jail was the day they got the Spurs game called off because they don't underfloor eating. So yeah, I don't see this going well for Burnley, if I'm honest. I know Leicester are going to be missing a few. The boy Kelechi Iheanacho obviously got the winner for Nigeria during the week. A screamer, by the way, a real screamer. Patson Daka, I think, is gone as well, isn't he?
I think so.
He's off with Zambia, isn't he? I think it's Zambia.
Not too sure.
Zambia might not have made it, actually. Maybe we need to check that one out.
Yeah.
But I know Vardy's injured as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's close to coming back, though, isn't he?
I don't think so. I think I just heard something during the week that there's another little setback and stuff. So,
okay.
I think so they're running out of options, Leicester, but they've still got way more than Burnley. You know, they've Maddison, they've Dewsbury Hall, they've Iosa Perez, they've Harvey Barnes, they've Yuri Tielemans. You know, now listen, Ndidi and Amartey have gone as well, so they've certainly three out of the building. Ndidi is big piece of that Leicester puzzle. You know, he provides that kind of platform for the front players to go and play, and that screen at the defence and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a scruffy 1-1 draw here, but I think Leicester might just nick it. So I'm going to say 2-1 Leicester. And I don't know where the goal is coming from other than Jay Rodriguez.
I'm going to go with a score draw as well. I'm
okay.
going to go with I think this game could potentially match the previous game, the Norwich-Everton game. Just there's a little bit more talent that you want to actually watch. But I think this could be a scruffy game as well. I think Burnley, I think Dyche might be able to sort of pull them together with Chris Wood's leaving and G them up somewhat. But I think again this will be just a scruffy in the muck kind of game, sort of dragged down.
And it's in Turf Moor, and the pitch is shocking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know whether we could have some sort of a rule that if your pitch isn't at least like 90% grass, they don't let you play in the league. Because Turf Moor is just a mud bath. You know, it's shockingly bad.
Which won't suit Leicester.
No, because Leicester want to play nice football. They want one touch. They want quick. They want balls in behind. You know, yeah, Leicester are a nice footballing team.
So this could be the match where Turf Moor is the leveler.
Possibly, especially when they're maybe missing some of their lads. You know, yeah. Possibly. I'm gonna go 2-1 Leicester. I just feel like they'll get over the line. I feel like when some of the big boys are missing, the likes of Maddison and Tielemans have just gotten to a stage where they step up a little bit, you know?
We shall see.
Yeah.
Big game, Saturday evening. The Stevie G versus Ralph rekindled again, but this time in the league. We shall probably see the magician. There's no doubt about it. Little Philip Coutinho. What you thinking on this one? I know you turned around last week and you said you'd nearly sacrificed the cup, wouldn't you, for the win in the league?
Absolutely, and I'd swap it now if someone offered it to me. If they said give Villy our league or give Villy our FA Cup spot and you can have the 3 points, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
You're worried about this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was positives from the other night, you know. And I spoke about it. I thought in the first half at stages and at times I thought, oh, we have a plan here. We got the ball quite central. And every time we got the ball, it was go wide. And Greenwood was playing a switch to Rashford. And Rashford was playing a switch to Greenwood. And they were creating space for each other really, really well. And I thought, this is excellent. I'm happy with this. We could go with this, you know.
Second half.
And then the second half, it kind of
to norm.
Yeah, it did a little bit, you know. And I don't know whether it was, you know, when you're trying something and maybe, you know, it's working, but maybe you're not fully committed to it. And I kind of feel like they said, oh yeah, it's not working, we'll stop. But it's not necessarily that it didn't work. It didn't work straight away. But sometimes you got to keep knocking on that door before it opens, before you get the, you know, the fruits of your line, so to speak. But they didn't seem to give it enough time. And obviously Villa came out and made a couple of little changes. And we lost an awful lot of space down the middle of the pitch. That was something I said to you, that in the effort to gain space out wide, we gave away an awful lot of space down the middle of the pitch. If we give away as much space down the centre of the pitch as we did the other night, Coutinho absolutely scores 110%. how often did we see him at Liverpool? Down inside the line of the goals, 20, 25 yards out, bang. And they were the exact kind of chances we gave them. And I just think he's a good component to that sort of style. Quality. Yeah. He bends the ball beautifully. I think a lot of the Villa players kind of snatched at it or tried to hammer it or do this, whereas I think he sees that as a nice little challenge. And he goes, you know what, I'll just do this or just do that. And
corner.
Yeah, he's got, we know what kind of talent he has. And they've also got the boy Luca Digne in, and he's registered as well. So you may see him. I'd say it's less likely to see him. I think you'll probably see him from the bench if we're the same at all. But I think he's going to be tough, I have to say. The only saving grace for this, or with this game, for me, is that we're at Villa Park. Our away form has been better than our home form recently. And we've got a phenomenal record at Villa Park in the last 20 years.
Would you believe it's 1995, 27 years
since we lost? Is that the opening day of the season when they thumped us and Alan Hansen said you'll win nothing with kids and we won the league?
Villa Park.
Mark Draper got one that day. So did Julian Joachim. And the third goal was, Draper might have got two actually. He just left Leicester and gone to Villa.
Was Gregory the gaffer then? Or was it Taylor?
No, it wasn't Taylor. Taylor was previous, and then Taylor was also after. So I think it was Gregory. Actually, I think it was Brian Little.
Brian Little, yeah. I remember Brian. Yeah.
Little. I think Draper got two. He certainly got one, and Julian Joachim definitely got one.
Okay. So what are you going for here? You sound like a worried Man U fan.
Yeah, I'm always a worried Man U fan.
This is not a situation where you could take a draw on one either, is it?
Not a chance.
No.
Now listen, if City come up trumps for us on Saturday and beat Chelsea, that's another little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for United, because Chelsea are getting closer and closer. I heard obviously Ronaldo during the week, and he spoke about anything outside the top three is failure. I think that was clever in what he said. I think if you aim for top three and you miss out slightly, you end up fourth. Life's not so bad. If you're aiming top four and you miss out slightly, you end up fifth, you're goosed, because that's no Champions League football.
I thought it was very strange for a guy like Cristiano Ronaldo to be saying anything bar top three is failure.
Well, I think he understands where we're behind.
He understands where it's at.
I think he understands we're way behind Liverpool and City. So from that point of view, he's saying we need to be the best of the rest. And I think, it's not that it won't take a huge effort. I think it's possible we reel Chelsea in. I do. I don't think they've shown, certainly in the last 2 to 3 months, that they're going to go off on a run of 10 games and beat everybody. I don't think they've shown that, Another 1 or 2 injuries in that Chelsea front line or front, top half of the pitch, and they're going to struggle for goals, and it only takes 1 or 2 injuries, and it could be Mason Mount, big player for Chelsea. Mason Mount gets injured, Lukaku gets injured, all of a sudden what are you left with?
Yeah. Well, you're left with a decent midfield. You're left with a very good defense, but in terms of pushing you over the line, absolutely, yeah.
And the more you start to push, the more space appears at the back. And when you go and lose 1 or 2, all of a sudden you're like, well, how do we fucking stitch this up here? Because we don't have anyone to go out and get us goals,
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about United. The only thing I would say about United is I feel like we haven't had that this season anyway. And we're still kind of, I feel like United can only get better. I don't believe we can get any worse. I think it's impossible to get any worse. I think we have to start seeing.
Trust me, it can always get worse.
No, I don't think it can get worse. I mean, from a performance point of view.
You aren't immune to injury either. So let's suppose Ronaldo gets an injury or Bruno gets an injury You know what I mean? It can always get worse.
Of course it can, but don't forget, you know, when we play with Ronaldo, we're carrying a man, and Bruno hasn't done a tap in how long?
You know what I mean? But I'm just talking about in terms of creativity and
of course,
who's getting the goals when they do happen.
I kind of think sometimes stuff like that can help you because somebody might step up, you know, and it could be the same with Chelsea. It's hard to say, but I know I'd, you know, if I was a Chelsea fan and I lost one or two, I'd be a little more worried than if I was a United fan. I lost one or two. I just feel like, you know, boys could go on a little bit of a run, a Rashford, a Sancho, where, you know, I think Werner could be there at the end of the season. He'd still struggle, you know.
Although he has started showing signs recently that he's coming back to a little bit of form. No? Not think so? Not convinced?
Not even slightly.
If you're Roman, he's out the door, yeah?
Well, listen, we only have to go to our resident Chelsea fan, Ian. I mean, Ian gave up on him how many months ago? Did we do that last Monday mashup?
Yeah.
And I think he threw Hakim Ziyech and Timo Werner under the bus and said, these boys aren't good enough. Get them out of here.
Yeah.
When your own fans are saying that about you, you know.
Although Ziyech has kind of stepped up a little bit, in fairness.
No.
Silence. Give us your prediction. Villa versus United.
2-1 United.
2-1 United. Who gets the winner?
Ronaldo.
3/7. I'm gonna go.
He writes his own headlines, that boy, doesn't he?
He does. I'm gonna go 2-1 Villa, which won't surprise you, of course. I'm gonna go 2-1 Villa because I feel United this year and in recent times has been about dropping the records that they've created. And I think this could be a time. I think Stevie G will have this drilled into the boys, and I think the magician could get the winner, and it could be a free kick. That's what I'm thinking.
You have high hopes, Tanto. Will you have your little Liverpool jersey with Coutinho on the back of it on?
Don't know. I might dig a Villa one out. I don't know. No, I don't. I actually, funny enough, I actually don't own a jersey that has Coutinho on it. Actually, believe it or not. There you go. I know Ben has one all right, so he might throw his one on all right. But I don't. I don't have a Coutinho jersey. Believe it or not.
Big shout out to Ben and the boys heading to Magaluf in a couple of months as well. We're gonna fill them up with
They're heading off to Belfast tomorrow.
That's right, they are.
Yeah,
they might have a listen to the podcast when they're on the train.
Yeah, they're actually they're driving up. One of the lads is driving up actually. Yeah, so
put it on the phone, plug it into the radio, play it out the thing, and let the lads know. Look after yourselves, lads. Yeah, take care and all that. Last thing you want to come home with is an STI or a child.
Yeah, or a match report, Glentoran versus Cliftonville or something. Can you imagine? Let's get into Sunday. Which has some significant games, of course. 2:00, Liverpool versus Brantford. Going to be a very tough game, especially on the back of what's happened in the Carabao Cup. A very disappointing performance. I do have huge reservations about some of the tactics that was deployed tonight and wonder how much care and interest there is in the Carabao Cup for one Jurgen Klopp. I'm very concerned about that midfield of Fabinho, Henderson and Milner. It's absolutely void of creativity. And you're talking about a Brentford side that I know took a bit of a beating. But when you've got guys like Ivan Toney in your team and stuff like that, they always give you a chance.
And listen, the boy Brian Mbeumo scored a hat-trick last weekend, so, you know, he's confident. I think he got one the other night as well in the defeat, didn't he? Or was it Janalt? One of them. But now listen, he's there's goals in that Brentford team. Janalt. I think the good thing for Liverpool is I'd be comfortable in the fact that I could keep a clean sheet. It's will I score is the issue. You know. You've got Jota, obviously. And then there wasn't an Origi tonight, was there?
No, it was Jota, Minamino and Firmino.
And what was there an issue behind Origi, or
He's injured.
So he won't be available for Sunday?
Yeah. He's not even available for sale.
Okay, so that leaves you with Bobby, and then it leaves you with Minamino and Jota. Like, there should be enough there to beat Brentford at Anfield. There should be.
Look very disjointed in the Carabao Cup. Very little, because you have Bobby dropping deep so much, and it just negates it. Like, you'd nearly be better off. You would have been nearly better off tonight, believe it or not, or in the game, playing with Jota up front and maybe Jota in the middle with Minamino and the young lad Kate Gordon, who had a good game against Shrewsbury and took his goal very well. And you'd nearly be better off nearly dropping Bobby into midfield to give you that bit of creativity, because if he's going to drop that deep to try and make things happen, you may as well start that deep to make things happen, because no Thiago, Keita's away at the AFCON, Tyler Morton, great work rate and stuff like that, but again, in terms of creativity, he'll get stuck in and he'll win your balls and stuff like that, but won't create a whole lot. I think we're void. Ox came on, gave us nothing. Jones came on, gave us very little.
So I like Jones, I have to say.
Yeah,
I like Jones.
But again,
I think maybe he needs a run of games.
Yeah, well, he's been out for a long time with the eye injury.
Yeah, I think he needs a run of games in front of Henderson and Fabinho. I don't like saying it, because in general, I'm a fan of his. We hear all the reports about he's still winning the bleep test at Anfield or at Melwood, wherever they are now, isn't it? But I mean, James Milner on the pitch has just in the last couple of months started to look like he's just gone over that hill, and he's very slowly moving that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only in the last 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, and it's mainly, funny enough you mention it, it's mainly very much when he's in the midfield. Like, if you need to use him at the back, he's a little bit more reliable, but at times can be caught, but a little bit more reliable. In the midfield, although he's fit as a fiddle and he has a great engine, he's not box to box. Hendo isn't box to box.
No.
And we know Fabinho is that sitting midfielder.
I think it's just bypassing him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of think, not just are the legs starting to slow down, maybe, but also so is the 6 inches between his ears, and he's just starting to slow down as a.
Well, it's a lack of game time as well, isn't it? I mean,
of course.
He's only obviously at his age, he's only a bit par player. He's a squad player. So if you're not getting a lot of minutes on a lot of games, you're not going to be tuned in to be that game savvy.
And just, it's just little things. But it was always little things where you could rely on it, because, I mean, he was just that guy that every week would, whether you needed him right back, left back, centre midfield, on the wing, wherever, he'd give you 7 out of 10. Every single game. Boom, boom, boom. And the last few times I've seen him, I thought, ooh, he's not getting anywhere near those levels, Yeah. And he's just been caught with, like, doing silly kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I said it previously, we know he still has season tickets at Ellen Road. I think when the summer gets here, I think he walks and he goes back to Leeds to finish off the career, maybe get another season out of him, 2 at most, and then he'll hang them up. He's absolutely nothing to prove. He's been a phenomenal player in that Premier League, with Leeds, with Newcastle, with City, with Liverpool. So, the boys, he's probably surpassed everybody's expectations of him, So if that's the way it's to go from, if he's to finish out at Liverpool and then go and spend the next 2 years of a wind down at Ellen Road, enjoy them. He's going to go and play for his boyhood club. The fans will absolutely love him. He'll bring a steeliness to Leeds, and he'll bring lots of good habits, and he's a winner. You couldn't ask for any more for the boy,
Yeah. I'd worry about this game on Sunday. I think it'll be a tough one for us, because Brantford give you a tough game anyway. So I think it'll be a tough one. I think we might get through it, but I think it'll be a tough one.
I think he'll just get through it as well.
Yeah, I think for us it's going to be that kind of month where we'll just kind of get through it, that kind of way, because that kind of heart and engine has been sucked out of the team. Thiago talk now that maybe the injury that he has, it could be till the end of the season. Keita off at the AFCON. Ox comes on, kind of gives you everything until the final third.
I got to tell you, and I know we've had this argument before, I think you've got such a poor version of Thiago. It's shocking. Like he's been miles off, what Liverpool thought they were getting. Miles off. Now, we're not getting it wrong here. He's come into the Premier League. We know the pace of play scares the daylights out of players, especially in the middle of that park.
Yeah.
But I just think I expected so much more from him. He was obviously at Barcelona, and before he went to Bayern, United were all over him. We thought the deal was done for Thiago Alcantara after the World Cup, the under-21s and stuff like that. We thought, oh, we're getting this kid, bloody blah. We were rejoicing. Kind of looking at it now, and I'm going, we're all right. We dodged that bullet because this league does not suit him. Yeah,
I'm nearly thinking now for the Brantford game. I'm nearly thinking maybe it's time to push Trent into that midfield role and put Neco in to create some sort of creativity.
Did Neco play this evening?
He came on as a sub.
Does he wear 76?
I'm not too sure.
No, and the only reason I ask is somebody, it must have been Neco. In the second half, especially, I didn't see the first half, but I thought the balls he put in from that right hand side, I thought the delivery was excellent, but I thought it was missing the boys you wanted in there, the Salahs and the Manes, I thought the quality he put in though. I mean, he was getting the ball out of his feet, putting a beautiful little curl in the ball in between kind of Ramsdale and the centre backs and stuff. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So if you thought you could maybe push Trent into the right hand side of the midfield and keep Neco on the right in the defence, absolutely, that's worth a roll of the dice. I think.
I think it might be for the next few weeks. It might be something to look at because I think in terms of if we're going to go in with that midfield, I mean, obviously, and we know no disrespect to James Milner, but playing a game tonight, he's going to feel the effects of that come Sunday. You know what I mean? And we can't have a lackluster display,
especially with Brentford, who are busy and are at it.
Yeah, and especially if you want to keep in some sort of a title race, and City potentially might win early on Saturday, so. We're playing Sunday at 2:00, so you have to try and stay in it. Find a way to win this month. That's the way it is. But
that's all it's going to be. It's going to be how, not how many.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go for a tight win for Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay.
I think the clean sheet will just give them the platform to win the game.
Yeah.
The
other 2:00, West Ham versus Leeds.
Yeah, this is West Ham written all over, hasn't it?
This is the reoccurrence of the FA Cup game.
Yeah, I see this going West Ham's way, if I'm honest. Listen, I know it was Norwich, and you don't like getting carried away when somebody has a good game against Norwich, but the lad Jarrod Bowen was phenomenal last night.
So unlucky not to get a hat-trick. He had a goal
disallowed. Had a goal disallowed. He hit the woodwork twice, and he got 2. So he was really, really unlucky. Thankfully, I captained him in my fantasy football team because he was on double game week. Yep.
Yeah.
But I just think they're in flying form. I think Antonio is due a decent performance as well. And obviously, you've got a lot of boys backing him up there with Fornals and Lanzini and Souček and Rice, and there's just West Ham are going to be tough to shift out that 4th spot.
Yeah.
At one stage, I thought, what, these will roll over. But it's David Moyes. I don't think they're going to. I think if somebody wants to take that spot off West Ham, they're going to have to put bullets through them.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks that way, all right. I'm thinking the same. West Ham win?
3-1.
3-1,
yeah.
Yeah, thinking the same. Then we rounded out the Super Sunday, North London derby.
Sunday.
Spurs versus Arsenal. This is normally be one I'd be pretty excited about. I do like the North London derby because I like the bite between the fans. I like the excitement and the build up to it and the banter that goes with it and all that kind of stuff. But you've got Arsenal at the moment struggling for players. I know, okay, they got a good result against Liverpool and Anfield in the Cup with 10 men, but it was kind of a backs to the wall kind of thing, and they got out of there with the draw. But they're coming off the back of a real good performance against Man City, but didn't get what they wanted out of it. A couple of moments of madness by players. And then they go out and they get slapped up by Forest. Likewise, you've got Tottenham there who are flattering to deceive, made a real task of getting by Morecambe, then went out and offered nothing against Arsenal, or not against Arsenal, against Chelsea in the second leg semi-final of the Carabao Cup. They were really, really, really poor. Midfield seems a real problem for them. Again, a real lack of creativity.
He's really, really struggling with going, this is my best team, because every time he thinks he goes, he'll do it.
No.
Has a stinker. He'll do it. Has a stinker. I don't think there's very many players in there that he's looking at now and he's going, I can rely on these guys.
Yeah.
I think one of the guys he can rely on is out injured at the minute. Heung-min Son. So as far as I know, he misses the weekend because he's got a muscular injury. He's got to keep him out for a little while. Son has become Spurs' biggest player for me.
They look very imbalanced, don't they, without Son in the team for some reason. When he's not there, it's kind of that side is void of anything really.
Yeah, and I suppose that he started using Ryan Sessegnon a little bit more. Down that left hand side, maybe when Son has been missing, or playing him as the wing back and stuff.
Kane found himself out there a lot against Chelsea, and that's not where you want Harry Kane.
Not where you want Harry Kane. When he's coming deep like that, it's going to be a tough day at the office for you guys. Again, I don't think this is going to be a great game of football at all. I think if you watch Arsenal tonight, they were resolute and stuff like that, but I don't think they were ever going to win the game, really.
No, but I think once they went down to 10 men, I think that was decided for them, and they had to make a formation change and stuff like that in order to keep themselves in the tie,
But I think they're extremely, devoid of goals. They really, really are. Like that, there's massive talk obviously at the minute, and you'll hear on our transfer show that they're looking at options and how they can get Vlahovic out of Fiorentina. Before the end of this window, Fiorentina beat Napoli 5-2 tonight. He scored again. Adding another 0 to that transfer fee,
Yeah.
And but I think they need someone, even if it's only someone on loan. Like Aubameyang, you can't count on. He's out of the equation. So what have you got up front? Alexander Lacazette, who's aging and never really hit the heights he should have at Arsenal, and Eddie Nketiah, who again, because he's not getting game time, is probably devoid of confidence.
Yeah.
Arsenal
Saka, who's struggling.
Well, listen,
Odegaard, who was out tonight.
Here's who you've got.
Smith Rowe, who was out.
You got Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli, but none of them are strikers. They all either play as a 10 or play wide in that front three. They need a striker. They need an out and out striker, a goal scorer. Somebody that's going to put the ball in the back of the net, hold the ball up, get others into play and stuff like that. Arsenal are going to struggle for goals, in my opinion.
I think it's Spurs we often talk on the show about squads that are light. Their squad is very light, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And it's, no more so in that than in that attacking middle third or middle of the pitch, that attacking middle up at the 18-yard box. I see Arsenal being a blunt force in this game, to be honest with you, and it'll probably play in Spurs' hands because Spurs are tightening things up slightly at the back. I see this going Conte's way. I don't think there'll be loads in it, but I think they'll sneak it. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
I think I'm going to go for a draw.
Yeah, I was going to go 1-1, and I probably should have gone 1-1, but I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. I think they'll just nick it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1-1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a score draw because I just think...
I'm going 1-1.
You changed your mind?
I'm going 1-1. Yeah, I'm definitely going 1-1.
Sir, can I change my mind?
Yeah, I want to do it now before on Monday when we look over these results. And I go, I should have gone 1-1. I'm going 1-1. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I just don't know. I just think it'll be a kind of I think it'll probably be the most drab affair of a North London derby in a long time. I think
Yeah, I think
both teams are really, really struggling. But again, it's a huge game with a lot on it in terms of, if you look at that top 4 spot. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
someone's going to either step up or step off.
I don't. I know they've been picking up points and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily see Arsenal as, and that's where I suppose I keep thinking back when I'm thinking about, getting that 4th spot. As bad as we're playing, and as I said to you previously, I don't believe United can be this bad between now and the end of the season. I think there's got to be some improvement somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think some of the other teams around us, the Spurs and the Arsenals, like, while they might have, again, good tactical managers and stuff like that, I think their squads are really poor.
You need talent.
Right? Talent. So I mean, even if United only turn into Moments FC again, we've a chance.
Yeah. Well, Moments FC will give you 3 points.
And this is what I'm saying. So, and I think I do believe we'll get the ball rolling. We're not going to be Man City in 6 months. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think we'll get the ball rolling. And I think, we might get the ball rolling at the right time of the season. You can stutter along at the beginning. United used to turn things on from January under Ferguson, and they'd go 10, 12, 15 games unbeaten, and all of a sudden they'd win a league title, and you go, Jesus, what happened there?
Yeah.
If they could go on some sort of a run, 10, 12 games, 9 wins, couple of draws, keep it ticking, you'd be in with a chance. Whereas I don't think Arsenal or Spurs could do that, in my own opinion.
Yeah, well, I don't think United can really expect to spend the next 4 or 5 months to the end of the season still trying to figure out what Ranić wants.
I
think they got to eventually figure it out and tweak it and get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's it's the only saving grace. It's the only hope I'm harboring.
Yeah. The only benefit on Sunday for Spurs and Arsenal is they'll have seen everything before them, so they'll know what the lie of the land is like when they're going out to play. So.
Yeah, and it will be like match playing out till the end of the season. Whereas if you win, the pressure gets heaped on here. We pick up the points and it rolls that sort of way.
Yeah.
West Ham are going to have a big say in this 4th spot. David Moyes is going to get them to pick up points in places and to win against people that they shouldn't really win against. And that might be enough to get them into that 4th spot. But
we shall see.
We'll have to wait and see.
Well, listen, my friend, pleasure having you on for the Premier League preview as always. Some interesting toys coming up this weekend, and certainly some pivotal toys in determining where the top 4 spot could potentially go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see who's going to be pretenders and who's going to get in there and actually do the business. Till next time, my friend. Cheers.
Thanks, brother.